Everybody. I do realize I come to you belatedly, partly because of my... Oh, Salfea, thank you very much for the shout out. I didn't notice that before. But yes, I had definitely had a later arrival at home, but then I also went and did something very silly. I have tried lately to listen to music like old people did when they were not old. So one of the things I've tried to do a little bit is when I have some music, like, try to just lie down or sit and listen to it and not read or not, basically don't use it as background to something else. And I did this largely because I noticed so many movies I was treating as sort of like radio plays, which I don't know. I feel like there are better ways to engage. Um, but anyways, that's one reason why I was late. I wanted to finish some music I was listening to. Now, I'm also delaying a little bit because I noticed that there was a patch, and I don't know if this was. I think that's a hot fix. But anyways, there's a big new patch, and I'm actually looking for the patch notes right now. We're going to go over those, and then we will play the game. But the Discord actually warned that this was apparently a rather sizable set of patch notes. So consider yourself warned. We will be learning about this game that we're going to be playing before we play it. Where on earth did these patch notes go? Oh, here we go. Okay. All right, so sorry about the delay there, but here we go. Phantom Brigade, patch 1.3.0, back and packed. Changes and new features. Up arrow means a buff was applied, down arrow means a nerf was applied, sideways arrows means a trade-off occurred, and as always, the robot arm means that a change was made based on community feedback. Status effects. Let's also zoom in a little bit. Status effects. Status effects are temporary states that units can acquire from environment interactions, equipped items, special weapons damage, and more. New status effects include burning. The unit will be damaged over time until the status expires. Venting will ignite the surrounding area. Charge. The unit will be damaged once the cooldown reaches 0 unless another unit passes nearby. A damaging electric arc strike approaching units, removing this status effect. Damaged units have a chance to acquire this status, leading to chain damage. Meltdown. The reactor core of this unit is melting down. Once the countdown reaches 0, the reactor will explode, destroying the unit. Unstable. The unit is struggling to stay upright. It will crash from any collision, including those with units of lower mass. Further buildup of this status will lead to this unit crashing. Venting. This unit is venting its reactor and will not take damage from overheating. Reactor temperatures can climb past the normal limit, necessitating a longer cooldown afterwards. Units affected with negative status effects can remove them with a stabilize action. Some status effects need to be built up to apply. For example, an incendiary weapon might apply 35% burning buildup per hit, guaranteeing a burning status effect after 3 hits in quick succession. Combat mechanics. Change some combat mechanics. Removed the stagger damage type. Melee weapons inflicting it will inflict the unstable status effect buildup instead. Demoted heat damage to a secondary role. Heat continues to be applied by some incendiary weapons, but their primary effect was changed to burning status buildup. I like this change because I'll be honest, I never really relied on heavy heat damage weapons. Fix the environment damage not being applied in appropriate radius, not being applied to most points in a large radius, and not being scaled appropriately. Fix directional damage, distributed damage, and splash damage not being split and scaled properly across mech parts. Adjusted the overheat mechanic. Units have a new heat buffer stat in addition to the overheat threshold stat. Heat buffer can vary depending on reactor model and other items. Heat cannot exceed the sum of the overheat threshold and the buffer. A lower buffer value allows the unit to immediately exit the overheated state as soon as heat generation ceases, while a high buffer value might lead to a unit lingering in the overheat state for some time. Some equipment and actions increase the heat buffer in exchange for other benefits. In addition to damage over time, sustained overheating builds up the burning status effect. Changes the weight class to the weight class, presumably, weight class stability mechanics. Only the equipped body parts have an effect on the weight class of a unit, matching how heavier armor affects concussion resistance. A light mech holding an ultra-heavy weapon will no longer be considered as stable as a unit clad in heavy armor. Backpacks. Added a new part type. Backpacks can be acquired from boss fights and caches. BMP-1 mine launcher. New area denial option similar to missile launchers. Can't be locked onto units, must be fired at the environment. The proximity fuse is armed once the mine hits the ground and remains active for a few turns. BMP-2 lightweight mine layer deploys mines under the unit, trading launch capability for more powerful explosive charge. BML-1 compact vertical missile launcher. BML-2 heavy airburst missile launcher. BML-3 ultra heavy airburst missile launcher. BAPS and BAPS-2 active defense systems unlock a new timeline action and status effect attempting to shoot down any projectile approaching the mech. Susceptible to saturation attacks, but effective against slow or limited projectiles. I can imagine this would be actually kind of useful for one of the tankier mechs. Just shove that backpack on them, keep them near your other units, or have your units run to them and shoot down the missiles. I'm not sure how that would change the dodge, which has been my normal way of handling them, but it's an interesting thought. Added the equipment charge mechanic. Some equipment, such as backpacks above, can only be used a limited number of times per fight. Similarly to barriers, the charges are replenished before every deployment. Subsystems. Added new subsystems. Heat vents unlock the venting timeline action. Utilizes the movement track, forcing the unit to stop, but allowing overlap with attacks. RX-1 furnace reactor, an unusual reactor design sacrificing cooling capabilities for power output, demands careful use. Overheating this reactor will immediately set the mech on fire. RX-2 dynamo, an unusual reactor design sacrificing electrical shielding for additional thrust and power output. Afflicts the mech with an electrical charge on every dash, can be exploited as an additional damage source on short-range units. RX-3 supernova. Experimental reactor design with record-breaking power output for its size. Has a chance to go critical in the event of collision or overheating. The critical state can be prolonged with more collisions or overheating. It can also be fixed by venting excess heat through the dash thruster. Letting the reactor melt down will destroy the unit and lead to a powerful explosion. DC-1 discharge coil unlocks a timeline action converting excess heat to an electrical charge. Can be used offensively by approaching other units once charged. Pilot pods allow for customization of concussion resistance. The player can sacrifice pilot protection to improve mobility or sacrifice some performance to improve pilot protection. Safety overrides boost weapon damage output by disabling some cooling systems. Increase maximum operating temperature, making it harder to cool down from sustained overheating. Reactor shunts reroute reactor power into equipped weapons, trading movement speed for increased damage output. And booster shunts reroute power from thrusters to the weapon systems. Removed subsystems. All offensive systems utilizing the targeted stat mechanic, collectively labeled sensors, have been removed from the game. The offensive slot can be fitted with 3 new subsystem types listed above, which apply a flat damage bonus to any equipped weapon with a variety of trade-offs. Destabilizing payload and thermal payload removed due to stagger and heat damage being retired. T9 stable reactor removed. Adjusted balance of some subsystems. Large payload reduced the environment damage radius bonus now that environment damage is applied correctly. Concussive payload slightly reduced the concussive damage bonus to better match the HP scales present in the game. Demolition payload slightly reduced environment damage bonus now that environment damage is applied correctly. An accelerator reduced the projectile speed bonus to prevent hit registration issues. Reduce the chances of higher tier equipment generating with customizable modules attached. The chance to find pre-installed modules can be customized in the difficulty settings, defaults to 50%. Rebalance module hardpoint distribution in different armor sets, swapping some ability defensive and offensive module hardpoints. Weapons added status effect buildup to some weapons. All plasma weapons now build up the charge status effect. HGA Spark now builds up the charge status effect and has new visuals. The HG2 Firestarter now builds up burning status effect and has new visuals. BM3 Alpenglow now builds up the burning status effect. All incendiary weapons now build up the burning status effect, and blunt melee weapons now build up the unstable status effect. Added a new incendiary assault rifle to complement existing incendiary weapons with their less predictable guided projectiles. The IR2 Pyroclast high-velocity incendiary repeater, performance and range comparable to assault rifles. Adjusted weapons to make more options viable picks. Increased handguns, widened the optimal range band, reduced heat generation, and increased some damage. Increased submachine guns, widened the optimal range band, reduced the scatter and mass. Increased machine guns, reduced heat, shortened activation times, and increased damage. Reduced the ultra-heavy machine gun. Slightly reduced the maximum range, increased the scatter, and reduced the concussion damage. Increased beams, reduced damage ramp-up times, action durations, increased rotation speed and damage. Increased the ultra-heavy beam, reduced heat generation, and increased the unit damage. Decreased the SR1 midway, slightly increased the activation time, scatter, and per-shot damage. Increased the dice, a large increase to per-hit damage, reduced the scatter, increased the projectile speed. Traded off the PLA curve, reduced projectile lifetime and tracking, making projectiles less likely to circle back after a miss. Traded off primary missile launchers, reduced concussion, rebalanced environment damage, and damage radius. Increased secondary missile launchers, reduced heat generation, rebalanced environment damage and damage radius, and traded off on the MLS one-shot, reworked to make it a smaller unguided equivalent to the ML1 slug. Decreased the MLX4 scythe, reduced the missile speed, decreased the AR2 burst. I believe that is like my workhorse, so... increased massed activation duration and heat generation, reduced damage and impact. Wow, they really hit that. They hated that one. And yeah, the Astra, which I never used. Increased the AR1 Astra, decreased heat and activation duration, more precise option with a higher rate of fire, and improved the DC-1 cannon, something that I wouldn't be caught dead using. Fixed rounds not detonating based on a proximity fuse. New descriptions added to a large number of weapons that had incorrect or missing descriptions, and fixed the visuals of some shields not matching their intended role. Quality of life. Added a part and subsystem preview to the base workshop. A preview will be displayed on selection of any workshop project. The preview will not display exact randomized perks and modules, as they are different on every build, but will display the slots and their rating, e.g. uncommon torsos will show presence of an random uncommon perk. Damage numbers will all now be displayed while watching a replay. I wonder if there's an option to turn that. I feel bad because obviously they've added that for the replay, but there's a side of me that wonders, like, is there a way to just disable the hello, Mad Dad? I wonder if there's a way to just make the replay a proper replay. I understand why people want it, but added the 3 heat threshold and maximum heat readouts to the combat timeline, improved the heat prediction precision on the timeline, and added the display of overheat depth. Mech customization added side-by-side item comparisons to the mech customization screen. Hovering over a potential replacement will move the equipped item window to the right, displaying the replacement in a new window. Added a tooltip listing previously hidden stats such as damage bonuses, resistance, and barrier regeneration rate. Added support for displaying more subsystems in the part information window. Added support for comparing installed subsystems. Previewing parts and empty sockets will now update predicted unit stats. And added support for comparing shields to weapons. Increased the save limit to 60. Improved performance of the save and load menu. The load screen no longer resets to the top when deleting a save. Sorry, I just thought I heard something outside. Enemy squads increased the number of enemy units in the garrison sweep-based demolition, cache, and assassination scenarios. Reworked the conventional tanks to improve balance and readability, provide a better source of loot, and enable more interesting enemy squad compositions. The tanks are split into 3 weight classes: lightly armored, medium, and heavily armored, each with subvariants covering 3 weapon range bands. Light tanks move quickly but are easy to destroy and only hold sidearm class weapons. That's interesting. Medium tank, because I could imagine that like fast moving tanks with with the short range autocannons would be an interesting challenge. Medium tanks have average speed and protection. They are equipped with conventional AA and cannon turrets at short and long ranges, or a machine gun at medium range. Heavy tanks have the slowest speed but are equipped with dangerous primary weapons, mech shotguns, MGs, and demolition cannons. Adjusted the squads in the army branch of the invasion forces to increase enemy count and improve variety. Altered escalation based on squad scaling. Each escalation level upgrades half the squads to the next grade. No escalation, 100% standard squads. Escalation 1, 50% veteran, 50% standard. Escalation 2, 50% elite and 50% veteran. And Escalation 3, 100% elite squads. Adjusted escalation thresholds to make higher escalation levels easier to encounter, from 50, 150 to 300 to 50, 120, and 200. Streamlined mod system. Now, I don't play with mods. Hello, Olaf. Lovely to see you as always. I hope you are doing well. I actually had a call today which involved people from Australia and people from the UK. We were the only people who were having a decent time. I'm pretty sure the UK people were very late, and I think it might have been 5 in the morning for the Australians. So thoughtful of my workplace to to book that time. Okay, but let's read the mod system anyway. Yeah, well, not rough for me, but the mod folder is now created on startup if not present. Any mod unpacked into the mod folder is now loaded by default. There is no need to manually edit settings, mods YAML, or manage the mod list before restarting the game for the installed mods to take effect. To block an install mod from loading, add a checkbox to its name in the mods menu. To make troubleshooting and mod development easier, the game will display descriptive notifications if issues are encountered during mod loading. Game sessions with mods applied will display active mods in the top right corner of the main menu. Improved the mod menu, adding space for longer mod names, simplified layout into one list, and added autosaving. Mod loading priority is now controlled by modders and is no longer exposed to players. Mod developers can set a priority field in metadata.yaml to control load order. This ensures that dependencies are loaded in the right order and can't accidentally be misconfigured. Other added a new boss battle music track. Again, the wonderful Riley Koning continuing to impress people with his excellent work. I gotta actually, this will be a new one. I gotta ask him if he listens to music in isolation or if that's background for other things. If you haven't done that, by the way, I highly recommend you try it. Added new footsteps for mechs and water, adjusted convoy and patrol spawn logic to improve variety and balance the frequency of different encounters. Convoys will no longer travel to destinations across the border of non-escalated provinces, resulting in faster convoy turnover. Newly spawned patrols and convoys select a type that was absent in the province for longest, ensuring balanced rotation of every type. Removed elite patrols from the second province, reduced the bonus from the quick loader perk. Locked minimum duration for a weapon to 0.6 seconds. Remove the cache event from the game. Cache objectives are now won by completing the combat encounter. Missiles can no longer be targeted outside their intended range. For example, the game will block an attempt to create an attack on a target 300 meters away if an equipped launcher only supports a 50 to 200 meter range. Bug fixes. Fix the ambush missions not providing workshop charges for higher tier victories. Removed concussion multiplier for hitting targets from behind when using weapons that deal splash damage. Fix growing ranks event triggering repeatedly after first activation. Fix some cases where a weapon could fire before it was properly aimed. Fix some missiles being set to detonate further from the target than intended, causing reduced damage. Fixed armored patrols having unusual unit spawns at high escalations. Fixed beam weapons penetrating through boss subunits. Fix an issue that could cause escaping assassination targets to get stuck if they crash while waiting for pickup. Fixed an issue that could cause enemy units to spawn too close together in rare cases. Fixed space barrier generation being set too high, causing most barrier modules to have no effect. Fixed the ML X-Force Scythe having an unusually high scrap value. Fixed an issue that would cause destroyed parts to reduce incoming damage from AoE attacks. Visuals added an accessibility option to reduce the intensity of some bright special effects such as muzzle flashes and lightning. Beam shader effects now get animated during replay. Improved rain effects, reduced aliased reflections from bright effects, optimized performance, rebalanced intensity at different weathers, improved background vegetation on several maps, fixed remaining instances of floating grass in the corners of combat maps, fixed the camera bouncing when taking actions. UI, updated colors of concussion and impact damage for consistency with mech customization screen, fixed machine gun projects in the workshop using the SMG sprite, fixed delayed fragmentation submunitions not being displayed in the shot count when inspecting weapons, fixed some cases where comparing pieces of equipment would have incorrect coloring for positive or negative changes, fixed redback boss listing its side shot launchers as turrets, and fixed a rare case that could cause the game to get stuck during the overworld tutorial. Known issues. Tanks can get pushed under the level while crashing, making them difficult to destroy. That's actually been there for a while, I think. All audio except for cutscene audio will sometimes not play. Tooltips can flow off the side of the screens in some circumstances. Occasionally destroyed mechs are flung around the map after viewing replay mode. On launch, it seems audio occasionally not playing on the main menu and in gameplay except for cutscenes. If you do encounter this, please relaunch your game. There's a chance of the Province Liberation event being interrupted by other post-combat events, meaning the opportunity to participate in the parade is not given to the player when the province is won. Some events do not end correctly. This could be caused by playing with an older save file. Sometimes patrols can get stuck behind the mobile base without engaging in combat. This can be resolved by entering liberated territory briefly, and performance issues are common. Okay, do I want to go through the balance? See, the thing is, I don't actually tend to get this granular in terms of the numbers. So with all due respect to the lovely people who put all of this work into the game, I'm going to skip the detailed notes. But this is what we have to look forward to. Now, I will just mention, as far as the save goes, I am going to continue the save. So we already did the liberation mission. So what we're going to be doing is cleaning up the provinces, which I don't think is a bad option. I did sort of say that I was going to continue that save, but I am looking forward to playing this. I hit play, I promise. Brace yourself games, the hallmark of quality. Seizure warning. A very small percentage of people may experience seizures when exposed to certain visual images, including flashing lights or visual patterns. These seizures may have a variety of symptoms, including lightheadedness, altered vision, ire, face twitching, jerking, or shaking of arms or legs, disorientation, confusion, or momentary loss of awareness. Immediately stop playing and consult a doctor if you experience any of these symptoms. If you or any of your relatives have a history of seizures or epilepsy, it is recommended that you consult a doctor before playing. Behold, update 1.3. So I think what I'm going to do, I am going to go back, because we sort of went for a... Oh, actually, we've got the radio tower. So my original plan was to actually go back and liberate sort of this stuff. But what we're going to do is we're going to work our way to the radio station first, and then I'm going to... maybe we'll move back to the other provinces. But for now, we're going to settle for Crus. Scientific development has long been booming in this region, starting with landmark research into fusion and superconductivity, and continuing to this day. A large number of experimental units operate in the region, so it must be approached with caution. So we'll do a normal run first, or like we'll cruise first, just so that we can get the repairs done. Now we are getting a bit low on liquid fix. Actually, we've got... So there is a specific plan that I've got here. I'm just going to repair the remaining amount, the remaining 12. I'm going to do... Oop. I'm just going to repair an enemy territory. Untested waters. After you cross the border into the new province, a pilot approaches looking worried. Hey, Commander, we just got intel back on this region. The enemy troops here are much tougher than anything we've dealt with before. Behind him, your other pilot says, we could try to beat them, but we put people at more risk by trying to be heroes than by leaving here and coming back when we're better trained. What do you reckon, boss? Your driver calls from up front. Up to you. That's interesting. So it's warning me. Now, it doesn't feel like... Okay, it is higher than some of the other alternatives, but yeah, we're going to be heroes. Surprise! Into the fray, the base comes alive with the sound of boots crashing against the floor. In the hangar, an engineer shouts his instructions to the crew, and a pilot rushes to get changed. You keep your eyes trained on the battle console, settling yourself with a deep breath. Suit up. Now, I don't recall if we got any weapons from the... I don't recall if we got any weapons from the capital fight, so I should actually take a minute here just to see... Oh, looks like Kilo's still a bit sore. Okay, no backpacks. Looks like I've got the prison. Okay, I get how this comparison works now. I don't think... None of this stuff looks new, so I'm going to say we're good to go for deploying. Obviously, there's new stuff that's been added to the game, but I think like fighting some battles and actually getting the gear to play around with is probably the better way to handle it rather than trying to mess around with the existing team. We need to be careful here, Commander. Try to minimize damage. These are people's homes. Local resistance forces will be here to help soon. Alright, so we've got 4 enemies. We've got a shotgun and a shield on a defender. We've got a machine gun and a shield on another defender. We've got a beam tank. It's not an I don't have an indication as to whether or not this is a light tank or medium or what. And a railgun repeater. Now that railgun's probably going to be a problem as far as the civilian homes are concerned. I mean, the thing about the railgun is it shoots through buildings anyway, so the buildings aren't much in terms of defense. So I think probably my best bet here, honestly, is just to sort of close the distance as quickly as possible and just sort of let her rip on the enemy. Now, this is going to be a bit of a weird one, I think. Ooh, this is great. Okay. Yeah, so everybody wants to take this unit out, but nobody can actually hit it, so... Now, the catch is, with me being so far away, the same applies, but... Okay, I can live with that. I figure this should be a no-brainer here. This unit, I'm moving into sort of the middle of the area. This is mostly to kind of contend with the tanks and such. Now you may wonder why I'm not sort of running into the fray directly. That's largely going to be because of my sniper here. Okay, so first of all, okay, we're not going to crash into each other. That's good. So the idea here is I want to set up to be able to try and take out this tank. I also wonder if there's maybe a better... Oh yeah, so first of all, I'm going to crash into my own unit, which is not good. Just wait it out a little bit. You know, I wonder if the better option here is walk up, dash onto the roof, so the next thing I'm wondering here is if maybe I can actually get away with... yeah, it looks like I can. I do kind of question this choice. I'm obviously crossing over into the next turn, but I do want to eliminate any threats to the buildings as quickly as possible. So let's see how the turn goes. So one problem with the heavy weapon that I'm firing here is that I am hitting the angle, which will have a little bit more exposure from the shield. So again, I shouldn't expect any miracles here. But the friendly fire is certainly welcome. A little bit in terms of damage, but nothing catastrophic. And looks like we're getting a little concussive damage in as well, which is nice. But mostly I'm expecting us to just wipe this thing off the map. Yeah. So center's down. Unfortunately, we didn't... Well, the machine gun might do the trick. The sniper wasn't quite enough to seal the deal. There we go. Okay. So, looks like there was actually quite a bit of damage that the... Oh yeah, no, that was the railgun. Not a whole lot I can really do about that, though. So I suppose the first thing that I want to do, let's just take a quick look here. So this beam weapon, it says heating and offensive, so I don't actually get that. Oh no, there it is on the right-hand side. So it does have impact damage. As does this one. Now, one interesting possibility that I have here is if I sort of walk along like so, I can't really do that much to avoid the beam, but I figure I can use my shield on that. And then I'll just try and get myself in position to take this unit out. So again, unfortunately, there's not a lot we can do about the avoid damage. We'll call it a suggestion at this point. But I can try and do a couple things to angle the fight in my favor. Those aren't great odds. Yeah, this unit's not in a good spot, so if I hop over like this, looks like I've got a reasonably clear shot. So let's also think about how... This is a rare case where I'm actually too far away. Okay, so I can't... Yeah, I'm actually a little bit stuck in terms of movement, so I think I'm just going to bite the bullet and work with what I have there. Now, if I try to dash... Okay, amazingly, I don't roast my mech. One thing I'm curious about is if I get on top of this building and then I let her rip with the gun. Interesting. We're going to try that. I only get one shot. So the concern I have with this is I think I'm putting a little too much attention on the mech as opposed to the tank, but this is going to be the thing that does the most damage to the buildings. Lord Gloom, Evening Chalk, you'll be lurking for a bit. Have a good stream. Thank you very much for hanging out, Lord Gloom. Now, I don't know if it's my working hours or that. I haven't seen you online in a little while, so I apologize if I've been missing your stream. But for those of you not familiar with Lord Gloom, a wonderful, first of all, enjoyer of many things, brace yourself, from Cobalt Core to Phantom Brigade, Magic the Gathering player, and enjoyer of Escape from Tarkov. Cannot stop giving money to those developers. It's wonderful to see you, Lord Gloom. I hope you have a nice lurk or a nice stream or whatever it is you're up to, and I hope I get a chance to hang out in your place soon. All right, let's see how the turn goes. Actually, sorry, before I do that, let's see a full speed run of the opening turn. Yeah, so that was very unfortunate for the building. Oh, no, this is encouraging. So that tank's taken out before I have to worry about anything. Alright, looks like I'm also starting to build up that heat. Ooh, looks like my left arm's gone. I was close to it at least. Now, that's a bit of a confusing one to me because I didn't think my heat was that... Or actually, you know what? I let that run over into the next turn, so the heat was actually probably that bad and I didn't even pay attention. You were on vacation last week. Wonderful. Okay, so I don't need to feel guilty is what you're saying. Now, one small worry I have now is that because there's so little room for error on the left arm, it's possible that this unit may wind up losing its shield arm just because I didn't manage my heat well. Yep. That's exactly what happened. So, lesson learned as far as the heat is concerned. Okay, now this unit's actually going to cause some trouble for me, just in terms of positioning relative to the relative to my other units. So if I do this, well, actually, you know what? That's kind of close. I guess the question is how much damage to friendly buildings am I willing to accept? And honestly, the answer to that should be 0. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put my... I think priority number 1, we get in position and we do as much damage as possible. Now I think at this point we can first of all wait. We can wait a bit to cool down. And actually I can be a little more thoughtful about that hop down. So what I'm probably going to want to do here is move up. So yeah, I should probably just wait for the next turn on that. Now the other big challenge here is whether I want to risk this unit any further. So this thing does 1200 damage, which would basically be enough to take out any single component on this mech. So I think, given that I can't put up the shield for defense anymore, we are actually going to use the friendly buildings for defense. And then our compensation basically is we get as many clear shots with the sniper as I can manage. And then if we need it next turn, we clean up this unit. We might be able to take out the right arm though, we'll see. Nice. Okay, so regardless of what happens, this unit's going to eject next turn. So definitely not a good... This is probably the worst civilian damage that we've had, and I'm going to have to give back some of the some of the loot that I earned, you know, restoring the arm and the shield, but part of this was about learning the new things. So we gave up 50 just to restore the Tsubasa and Svalin, grab the Vidar, and then, I mean, essentially just scrap whatever we can. Thank you. Having helped the settlement, a man comes up to you. I can't say how grateful we are of your assistance, he says. I have information for you about somewhere not far from here. It might help the cause. He marks the location on the map. Where on the map? We'll never know. Okay, so we're not going to go overdrive. I'm slightly curious what this is. Okay, so that armored unit's going to chase me down now. I think probably we just want to zoom forward. So base is preferable, but I definitely want to... Ooh, an equipment convoy. Gear up. At your order, the base flies into action and prepares for a fight. An engineer sprints towards the bay to check on the guns, passing a scout relaying combat data through the radio. There's shouting everywhere. At your side, someone's leg bounces up and down, boot heel tapping on the grate. You feel eyes on you, awaiting your command. So I'm not expecting that much to happen as far as equipment is concerned, but let's just take a quick look at what we can... Oh. No, no, no! Don't autofill! Is that the... I actually think it's the other way around for the pilots. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry to do this, but I have standards. So it's basically the reverse order from what I've got right now. Well, almost. The longbow. You know what? We're gonna put it in the old order that it was, and then it won't be confusing. So, Kilo was in the longbow. Sierra was in the Protector. Foxtrot was in the Needle. And Tango was in the Helios. Alright, all is right in the world. Okay, so not much to go on in terms of these items. It's really just a question of whether or not I equip the Vidar, and I can't see a situation in which I would want to do this with my fast mechs. Protector, on the other hand, I can see. So a VDAR 7 blue versus a VDAR 9. Now the big problem here is that we just don't have... We just give up too much the way it's working right now. So part of that is from the overdrive. So basically, if I take a look at the numbers here, this is lighter. It has improved cooling, but I can kind of see that. I can see that working another way. So the mobility module is one of the things that makes this considerably lighter. I guess the catch here is, what am I ultimately gaining? So keeping in mind that the reactors are going to be the same, and I'd probably put the sidestep thruster in. I could conceivably put different armor plating in to maybe even out the mass. Well, you know what? Let's see what we can do. So if we change this thing around with an overdrive and a sidestep. Okay, so first of all, I don't have a sidestep. Well, okay, let's see what I can do anyway. I'll go crazy with the light plate first. So this is considerably more defensive. Yeah, by about 300. So what if I put hollow plate on it? So the alternative here is better. I think I'm just going to accept that this was not that good of a plan. And we go for the old loadout. Now, these Nox legs. I can get a little bit of that back by getting rid of the reinforced plate, but I imagine that the only result here is going to be that it's slower, so I think I'm just going to say no to that. I should also be paying attention to any empty slots available. So we've got this offensive module, I can put a capacitor on, I can put a heatsink on. Let's go for the capacitor. That probably would have saved the arm last turn, to be completely honest. Well, let's just take a quick second here. We've got everything, yeah, so other than not having any backpacks. So we'll see what's going on with the needle. Now the needle's already at 28 in terms of speed, so there's not a whole lot that I can do in terms of changing things around. Like putting heavy legs on obviously is too much. Hello, Kieran. Thank you very much for... Only just got the notification. No worries, we were doing patch notes, but thank you very much for stopping by and saying hello, and I hope you have a good day at work. We've already kind of adjusted the hollow plate and such, so I think at this point here we're about as far as we're going to get with any of this stuff. So not much to go on with the needle. So finally with the Helios, even though we've changed, even though this weapon's been nerfed, we'll take it in stride. And again, I don't see any of this stuff improving my situation. So I'm actually going to go to the inventory and we're going to say we'll definitely kill the VDAR legs. Not so sure about these weapons, but I can definitely see us lose the Elbrus and the VDAR. You remember one of your favorite comp sci facts? I'm curious. It isn't about galactic algorithms, is it? Because those are my favorite. Does anybody know about galactic algorithms? It's what Unity uses for dots. I kid. So each 1 or 0 is a bit, 8 bits equals a byte. However, there is another measure between them, which is 4 bits, a nibble. Actually, I feel like I've heard nibble before, but I don't know where. So that is news for me. Unless you're just completely making that up. You changed Wikipedia to say that. That is cute. I will share that's fun, yeah. So the one I referred to, galactic algorithm, it's basically like a theoretical concept. So the idea here is that it's an algorithm that has superior performance, right? So usually, I don't know if you did big O notation in high school or not. Like that's one of the ways that you can measure the performance of an algorithm. But essentially the how do I put it? Like the gains are felt when like for impossibly large applications, right? So like the idea of like it's a theoretical maximum, and so in this case here the realized value is, or the realized benefit is in something that's completely impractical. So well, that's fine. I mean, I didn't learn it's not like I learned this stuff in school. So but I think my favorite example of it was multiplication. Was it multiplication? Sorry, give me a second. Yeah, multiplication of two integers. I absolutely love this. So I looked this up. So here is the description: integer multiplication. So one of the things that's kind of fun about computers, or to learn about computers, is like, so far as I can tell, multiplication is not that straightforward. It's one of these things where if you could actually find a speed up, that would be a genuine improvement. There is in fact an improvement over multiplication as it's usually practiced, but again, it only applies, the benefits are only in the limit. So here is the description: integer multiplication. An example of a galactic algorithm is the fastest known way to multiply two numbers, which is based on a 1729 dimensional Fourier transform. It needs O n log n bit operations, but as the constants hidden by the big O notation are large, it is never used in practice. However, it also shows why galactic algorithms may still be useful. The authors state, "We are hopeful that with further refinements, the algorithm might become practical for numbers with merely billions or trillions of digits." But again, I do rather like this idea of like sitting in front of a computer scientist is like, okay, so what's the most efficient way to, multiply two integers? It's like, 1729 dimensional Fourier transform, obviously. So there you go. You all learned something today. We're going to go back to the game. Okay, so this is a raid. We are going to have to stay put, I suspect, but I'm hoping we can make quick work of the defenders. Feeling a little sleepy. I actually, on my way home, I rubbed my eye and promptly ripped my contact in half. Not my proudest moment. Commander, it looks like the convoy changed their plans. They just called in an airlift for the cargo. Stay near it to block their aircraft. Oh, that's a neat idea, actually. But yeah, I'm a little sleepy, but I also know I have an early day tomorrow, so I kind of need to not drink tea. Otherwise, I will pay for it when I try to get to sleep. Okay, so I think actually I'm going to take a different approach here. I'm actually going to... Oh, man, everybody hates this unit. Okay, so I'm going to go the long way around. This is still useful in its own way, though. So basically, they're going to run in and try and get the loot. Okay, so they do want to put the hurt on the ultra heavy machine gun, but I've actually got longer range. And I think what I'm going to do here, I'm going to let my sniper take care of the tank. I don't like the look of that at all. Let's see if I can get my money's worth with the other unit as well. And here, I think the easy answer for my the easy answer for the defender is just to grab the objective. So I'll be honest, I'm actually not doing as much damage to the I'm not doing as much damage to the enemy units as I was hoping, but I kind of like how this turn is going because we get an early objective and we do get some pretty decent hits on the enemy at the start. Obviously, it did warn us that this is a tougher region, so I can't exactly complain about the fact that my weapons aren't doing that much damage or that I lost a part in my first encounter. Sniper did a respectable job, though. I might be able to take him out. Yeah, I don't want any part of that marksman rifle. I thought that was a machine gun. So I should expect this unit to get taken out. As for the rest of it, well, we'll see. Good work. Both wheels, so that one wasn't as helpful, but you know what? I'll take it. I think we can speed it up now. I do like how you can see this, basically you can kind of see the tank go into range, and as soon as it shows itself, the shot comes down. I like the way that looks. Okay, we're gonna plan. So I suppose the questions are what the enemy does here. So it looks like they want to cause some trouble for my defender. Now, I'm completely fine with that because I've got a big shield to protect that unit with. And I've got other units that can do my dirty work. So let's see if I can get a cheeky shot off on that first. And it almost feels like a waste to put the Helios up like this, but you know what? I'll take objectives over over the alternative. I think we are in a pretty good spot to cause some hurt on the enemy here. The best, of course, will be if the this unit isn't taken out, if it winds up just crashing into its ally. I'm not 100% sure what's causing the damage here, but I'll take it. Okay, so we don't get to see the ally crash into its comrade, but I can live with it. Yeah, so damage on the shield as intended, but as you can see, we prepared. Although we almost reflected the beam onto our ally. I forgot that it's not like directly back at the enemy now. All right, so sorry to whoever owns that house. But we only have one enemy to deal with. So yeah, this is actually kind of interesting. I guess the way that these work now is you need to eliminate... I mean, it kind of makes sense because I always wound up taking out the enemy anyway. It's just kind of interesting to see how you kind of delay the... It's kind of interesting to see how you delay the enemy as opposed to try and take an objective. This is a real pain to try and... Main reason I'm doing that is just so that I can get this unit in position to do its sniper thing. There we go. No targets remain, mission successful. Alright, so we've got a workshop charge, composite plate, a battery. We get these for free. So we'll pick up the Sun Swarm, and then we'll just see how many of these we... I don't think I get to disable anything else. I am slightly inclined to scrap the cutter and the saber, but I think these are actually two of my first melee weapons, so even though they're grays, there is something about having the option that makes me say I want to keep it. Okay, so this base level 9, both level 9, 234 versus 228. So I guess I'll run away. I do want to be a little conscious of my liquid fix, so... Gear up. At your order, the base flies into action and prepares for a fight. An engineer sprints towards the bay to check on the guns, passing a scout relaying combat data through the radio. There is shouting everywhere. At your side, someone's leg bounces up and down, boot heel tapping on the grate. You feel eyes on you, awaiting your command. Suit up. Okay, liberation mission. Drive the enemy out while minimizing damage to the facility. It may not be a city full of civilians, but preserving the surviving industry would help the homeland recover. We've got 2 on-site contacts right here. We'll see if there's any fancy things to equip on my people. We've got the Astra rifle now. The Prism actually does some pretty respectable damage, so I don't see myself using this Astra. So definitely more survivable. Unfortunately, just too heavy. I think even with the ideal mobility, with like the ideal mobility modules, I can't see myself staying at 28, which is the whole reason this unit exists. So we'll decline the arrow legs. And I imagine this is going to be true for everyone else, so I can't really see a situation where Sierra equips... yeah, like the Sun Swarm's not doing enough damage. I can't really see myself putting on skinny legs for the... Well, these are this is Nox legs, so... But the difference in damage, or the... Like, so this is a 658 integrity. The total of this would be, what is it, 625, I think. So it's probably closer than it looks, but I don't know, it just, like, it's not a, even though it's a higher number, it's not actually a direct improvement. Even if I were to add the, so like the mass is the same, I could add something like the generator, but again, my overall defensibility is lower for seemingly no benefit. So, don't know if the needle's going to do anything for me. Can't see myself switching the weapons. These would be an improvement in terms of the legs, but I give up my speed, and this is going to be a unit that's far away from the enemy, and I can't see myself switching the Helios's weapon, but maybe something happens with the legs. And again, it's the same story. It's better. Actually, this is one where I'd be willing to see what happens with the mobility module. This is still considerably better. Now, obviously, it's not a completely fair comparison because there's the generator on this thing, but I don't know. Like, I'm not going to get rid of them, but I feel like there's better stuff to be done. Now, if you will excuse me, I have to go to the bathroom. I didn't go before I started, for which I apologize. I'm going to get a glass of water and just try and shake the cobwebs out. So if you have not taken a break yourself, or you're looking for some water or otherwise want to distract yourself, now is a good time. I'm going to try and keep it brief, but I don't know, I'll like do some jumping jacks or something like that to try and get a little bit of the focus back. So like I said, I'll try and keep it short, but do feel free to kind of get up and go around just because I need to get myself sorted. I will see you all in a little bit. All right, thank you everybody for your patience. I have a little bit of bread beside me, so I'm going to try to limit the snacking, keep it to an acceptable minimum, but I am still going to snack. We are ready to deploy. I thought this was a boss fight level for a minute. I'm like, wait a minute. I think I've seen this one before, though. Oh, I like this song. Maybe I haven't seen this one before. Let's try to preserve at least some of this facility, Commander. These aren't people's homes, but the place could still be of use later on. Okay. Again, sorry for chewing on things. We've got a beam, a plasma repeater, marksman rifle. That's one I want to be very careful of. And a machine gun. All right. Now, one option I have here, I'm curious if I just turn and fire on this unit at the start. It was kind of two ships passing in the night, I guess. You know what? I'm going to go for it. And it's partly because I've got other units that can come in and cause other trouble. Yeah, so I'm going to wait for the second turn, or the next turn before acting. Now here, I want to do as much as I can to the tank. The hope here is that I take this tank out before before the next turn. Otherwise, I potentially get hurt. I'm actually going to take the time to run back. Okay, now that's a problem because I go crashing into... So I don't exactly want to be getting closer to this unit that's going to be attacking me, but I don't think I have a whole lot of options either, so... Now, I was originally going to try and do something a little more original with my sniper. The fact of the matter is, I don't have a whole lot of places to put them. So I think I'm just going to settle for reinforcing... I don't like that. Slightly better chance. It's gonna just ruin me for any subsequent turns, but that's tomorrow me's problem. So not enough to seal the deal. Excuse me. Not enough to seal the deal, although a pretty respectable showing. So here's what I'm thinking. We'll do our best here. My contingency is to throw up the shield against this unit when it retaliates. But the hope is that I'm going to be able to take it out first. The tougher question is, what do I do with my remaining units? So there's a small argument for me to use the ultra machine gun. But I'm definitely going to need to reposition for the next turn. Ooh. Okay. It's gonna make for an interesting turn. Ah, no, this unit's ejecting, so I shouldn't do that. I definitely want to do everything I can to encourage this unit to crash. So I definitely don't mind hiding behind the building. I mean, again, ideally I minimize... Or actually, you know what? It's not keeping track of the damage. Ideally, I don't do damage to friendly buildings anyway, but I do have some very practical concerns right now. I think my best bet for the sniper unit is to actually just get up on a roof. Not quite strong enough for that. You kidding me? Yeah, and that's still too close. Okay, so my next best bet... not crazy about taking the long way, but also not crazy about taking a machine gun to the face. Yeah, you know what? I think I'm actually just going to live with that. I have a lot of units that are sort of out of the action right now. Yeah, I generate too much heat. Damn. I mean, maybe. I'll give it a try. I'm hoping I'm not doing something stupid with this unit, but also didn't really play out the turn. Stop hitting this unit. They've given up. All right, that thing's down. So the question remains, what happens to this tank? We weren't able to seal the deal on this tank, so I'm hoping that they crash. They do not, so that may cause some problems for this unit here. I'm glad I moved it. Alright. That hurt. This unit just received a status effect. This is a temporary condition that can affect the unit over time or at the end of its countdown. Okay. So if we end the status effects are displayed above units. The circular fills around each icon represent their countdowns. Some effects take multiple hits to apply, for example, incendiary weapons or overheating build up with burning status on every hit, displayed with a transparent icon gradually filling up. Once the buildup reaches 100%, a unit gains the status effect. You can get more information about the status effects on a selected unit in the detail panel. Here you can see the names of the effects and the time they will remain active for. You can also hover over each effect to learn more. Charged weapon hit. This unit has accumulated a dangerous electrical charge. A damaging arc will strike any unit approaching at close range, depleting 1 charge. The discharge distance is massively increased if 2 units are both in water. If not discharged to another unit, this unit will be damaged once the status expires. So, the funny thing... Okay, here's how I'm going to handle this. So I'm going to start with a couple shots on this unit. Now this unit here... Okay, so this unit wants to hurt the... The big problem here is I do worry a little bit that I can't actually deliver... Like, I want to get kind of clever as far as the status effect goes, but I also don't want to get hit. Yeah, see, the problem is the marksman is an issue. So I don't know, I guess we say just make the best of it. Moving close. And then run away. Honestly, I think the best answer to this thing is just... Actually, hang on. There might be... I think I'm going to run into the same problem where they start shooting at me before I can get away. Oh, not exact. Well, there might be a way to make it work. I'm gonna try that. I gotta try to make sure I don't hit my own unit with the rifle. Obviously, I'm making something of an assumption here that I'm killing this tank on time, but I'm not really sure. I'm really not sure how else to operate, to be honest. All right. So not crazy about the timing of that, obviously. I can handle going early, though. So yeah, a little too much focus on this unit at the expense of this one, but I am hopeful. We'll see. Oh, that's nice. So obviously the whole running by this unit is now completely pointless. Well, that's welcome. I think it does have a sidearm, though. I don't need to worry about the primary weapon damaging me anyway, though. I also do need to remember my sidearm. But the heavy machine gun is so much fun to use. No targets remain, mission successful. Remember in future not to blow up the industrial site. Okay, so we got some uncommon components, rare components, and supplies. Lots of grays. I should actually be taking this time. Oh, and we're now contesting the province. So I should probably take some time and level up the base. So if you just give me a quick second here, I'm going to enjoy some bread. We are contesting the province with very little liquid fix. I'm going to see how long I can make it last. So going stealth just to try and avoid the armored unit. Hmm. Bring it. Just 1 minute, please. I probably should have just waited during the break and properly eaten, but I don't know. I don't like leaving the break screen on for too long. All right, into the fray. The base comes alive with the sound of boots crashing against the floor. In the hangar, an engineer shouts instructions to the crew, and a pilot rushes to get changed. You keep your eyes trained on the battle console, settling yourself with a deep breath. So I believe this is an enemy unit landing on top of me, so this might be a base defense. Suit up. Yep. Mobile base has been knocked offline by a long-range volley from a nearby patrol. Protect the base from incoming enemy forces while the crew restores power. This seems a lot stronger than I sort of last remember doing one of these things. So as always, I want to take a quick look at what's available. Can't see myself using the fire starter, even though I know they've changed the way this stuff works. Tsubasa torso is kind of interesting. So I would need to change the... I need to change the reactor. The biggest drawback here, so I don't mind lightening the armor a little bit, but there is something about lightening the center that makes me nervous. As nice as it is to have barrier. I think there's just a few too many... I think there's a few too many concessions on this, and it's not so clear to me. Like, I can't imagine myself saying, I'm going to increase the risk of a pilot death so that I can get a little more barrier. That just doesn't really seem to be the way to think about this. So, I'm going to guess that we don't use any of the new upgrades. Well, no, sorry. We know we're not going to use any of the new upgrades. I might even scrap them, but let's just go into the fight. Now, normally I've been able to handle these without too much trouble, so we'll see. We'll see if the tradition continues. I also don't remember buildings in one of these, though. The engine took a hit. We'll need you to buy us some time, take defensive positions, and prevent more damage to the base. That's a lot of guys. Okay, so we need to survive 8 turns. And there are 3 units that'll be coming in 3 turns. But we do get some good music. Well, we always get good music, but a favorite is coming up. So, all right. So we got a submachine gun, dual submachine guns. Interesting. Dual shotgun. What is happening in this game? I don't actually see the second shotgun. I think dual SMGs actually look pretty cool. But yeah, the second shotgun. Well, okay, theoretically that's the second shotgun. What else are we looking at? We've got a cannon. Now, 629 is respectable. Oh god, and the incendiary repeater. Okay, we're in for a fight. So one of the keys to this, I think, is going to be to get the sniper munching tanks. Basically, I actually kind of want to get this unit in play as soon as possible. Unfortunately, that's the end of the turn no matter what I do, so... I hate that I'm gonna be crossing over a turn on this, but actually, you know what? It's better for me to just wait for the start of the next turn. Yeah, I'm doing my best. All right, let's see how this turns out. Completely missed. That one hit. Commander, a large group of drones just appeared on our scans. Do not let any of them approach the base. Do you copy? So easier said than done. Obviously, we're contending with... Oh yeah, they want the base bad. Okay, so I definitely have a game plan for this. I'm not crazy about the range, to be honest, but how much worse does it make the... Honestly, it's not... The chances are equally bad across the board. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to focus on this unit where I can. Alright, so they do want to put the hurt on my protector. Now the thing to remember about the protector is that even though it's equipped to take some hits, I actually want to avoid taking damage where possible because I want to preserve my liquid fix. I'd love to just go crashing into that guy, but that's not an option here. The funny thing is, I more or less take the whole hit. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to have it both ways. So I'm going to start by defending myself against the attack. And then we finish by dashing away. Alright, that works for me. I don't think it's advisable for me to try attacking this unit here. I am a little worried I'm not doing enough to take that unit out, but I'm not quite sure what my alternative is. I'm going to do something a little unexpected here. I'm actually going to use the sidearm where I can on this unit. And then that opens up this one for the follow-up. So I'm doing what I can in terms of the damage. Yeah, I think we just see how it plays out. I'm not expecting miracles on this one. Okay, that's good news. I don't think there's that much I can hope for in terms of stopping this unit. Maybe. A little more damage to the back and I'm a happy man. Not quite enough. Good news is we should be able to finish it off next turn. Obviously it's doing some damage to the base here, but... Oh. I believe that is friendly fire hitting the mobile base now. Alright, that's a pretty respectable showing there. So I'm going to have to start looking out for the drones pretty soon. Again, I want to be a bit thoughtful in terms of how I handle this. So my best option... So most of this stuff is actually pretty protected, so I think my best option with my sniper right now is just to keep the pressure on with the sidearm. And it actually looks like we are in good shape against... So as far as the drones go, I don't have a whole lot to do this time. I think I'm actually just going to stay put. I can, however, bring the longbow into play. Be a little concerned about this, but yeah, so I mean, this is definitely a case where I've let the drones run by sort of unchecked for a bit. This is definitely swatting a fly with an anvil, but yeah, let's see how this goes. Alright, that's a welcome development. Okay, cool. I can definitely clean up the drones without too much trouble. Another welcome development. The real advantage of the longbow is just the mobility across the battlefield so that I have a few options in terms of what I want to target. I should be a bit worried about this tank targeting the longbow, but otherwise I think we're in okay shape. Right, okay. That's fine. Now, I didn't notice these new arrivals, so this is actually a worry given how close they are and the fact that they're going after my ultra heavy. Okay, no, they're arriving this turn. Okay. So, honestly, I gotta get out of the danger zone on that. Yeah, so there's definitely people targeting the longbow. So my best option for that is sort of shoot the thing while we're running away. Now, I'm not completely helpless. I do have a sniper on the field. But that's going to be better used. So these things are obviously going to want to... Ooh, yeah, they're actually rather dangerous. Unfortunately, I don't have a whole lot to deploy against these things. So I can fire as early as I think I can. But I better hope for a pretty impressive result. Okay, so if I want to be a little braver in terms of taking on the enemy... That's about as good as I'm going to get. I do think the drones are still the priority. The question is, how do I... So the problem with... you know what? I'm going to go for it. I do expect there will be a bit of damage to the base from the new arrivals. But we'll be able to clean up the rest on our own terms. Yeah, that doesn't work for me. Okay, that I can live with. Yeah, this is a completely different way of approaching this turn, but I prefer it. Probably should have shot at this thing, though. So 3 drones to the right of the from the perspective of the base. 1 drone over here, and then the new arrivals are probably the biggest worry. Because they're basically going to go straight for the base. That was close. I don't think it's going to do the job, though. I will never doubt that. I'll never doubt that unit again. Very nice. Okay. That was a good turn for us. So we cleared out one of the drones, and we're also in a position to mop up the rest. This unit's obviously causing some suppression, but the bulk of the enemy, force that I'm worried about is on this side of the map. So we've got an ultra heavy machine gun focused on the enemy. We've got the longbow, which is in a position to sort of jump between these other units, and more importantly, we've got the sniper which is able to focus down on the enemy tanks. So what I've really gained here is a bit more versatility. So obviously the first thing I want to do here is take out that tank. There is a side of me that, actually, you know what? We can afford to do this at the end of the turn, so I'm going to see if we can get lucky and stop this one from doing too much damage. Obviously the next target is this one. And I think where I'm sitting right now... I'm going to go for whatever I can on this unit, which is directly attacking the base. I want to be a little thoughtful in terms of where I'm moving, because this could be directed. I also want to keep an eye on the drones. Okay. Big gun has an obvious target. That should kill that unit, I think. So I'll confess, I'm actually quite uncomfortable with how I'm sort of letting this thing run by uncontested. So I'm going to change my plan. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. The thing I gotta be worried about is if this drone winds up getting close to the base, I can't rely on the heavy machine gun to do the job anymore. Nice. Good. So we'll have a little more work to do to remove the threat to the base, but I've got a couple units that I can spare on that front. I don't think I want to try and snipe the drones out of the sky, so the longbow will be repurposed for drone duty, as will the heavy machine gun. And then my other heavy machine gunner will try and take care of drones on the other side. It's an unlucky hit. I hope I didn't just sign myself up for friendly fire. It sure looks like I am, though. Just finished the thing already. Jesus Christ. Okay, I definitely have a plan for cleaning everything up. So first off, we want to get the sniper shots in. So I also want to see who is moving first. So, okay, no, we've got 2 ejecting pilots, so that's good there. I can redirect the sniper to go after the tank now. Oh, how do I do this? Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to direct the machine gun to take care of the drones. This unit's going to take care of sort of closer range drones. Now, weirdly enough, I am actually going to dedicate the sniper to at least one drone. I'm not even expecting like a major result out of that. It's just more, this is what I have available to me. If I'm going to have to shoot it close, I might as well do it here, and then we'll just shoot in the back next turn. In fact, it's probably better that I use my sidearm. So yeah, it's getting a little scary on the drone front, but it's definitely not impossible for us to work through this. So I'm gonna keep in position. I'm also gonna reposition, which will be weird given the fact that I was struggling to hit this one, but is mostly to just deal with this little center group, given that the longbow is more flexible. Okay, that one's down. Okay, sniper got it. Oh man, this was not even the most remote possibility. You took out everything that posed a threat to our armor. We almost got the engine running. Hurry up and extract before reinforcements come in. It's a bit of a shame we weren't able to take out the incendiary repeater. And I did wind up taking a bit more damage than I was wanting on a couple of my units. But overall, that was a respectable showing. Especially given that we didn't choose that combat. Okay. I can't take everything. So let's say scrap the machine gun. Yeah, it'll have to do. Okay, so unfortunately we need to abort as far as the attack goes. At least temporarily. Ow, we got it. Flag down. As you wind through the country roads on the mobile base, one of your pilots calls out to tell you that someone is outside, waving for your attention. The mobile base comes to a shaky stop. You and one of your pilots gets out to talk to the woman. Thank you. You're the Brigade, aren't you? She says. They've been calling us that. Yeah, your pilot says. What can we do for you? It's more what I can do for you. I have some information about a place I saw not far from here. Sitting ducks. You're looking through the latest report when you hear one of your pilots laughing and calling out to you from in front of the base. Look at this, your pilot says when you join him. They're sitting ducks. Sure enough, on the radar you can see that there are some enemy mechs up ahead. I think they're gearing up to join the battle over there. He taps the screen where there's a cluster of activity. We can get in before they know what hit them. Suit up. Sure, a lot of guys. Alright, incoming mission. Garrison sweep. A swift and decisive strike should dissuade the enemy from trying to hold this base. Quickly eliminate the garrison on site. Expect static defenses and potential reinforcements. So I'm hoping most of those are turrets. So the burst, can't see how that's an improvement over the prism here. So again, better armor. This one's actually a little tempting. So I think the reactor can be adjusted. I don't know about the flashpoint, though. So I'm I'm gonna hold off on that one. I do seem to be getting a little static in terms of how I'm using these upgrades. But I also don't want to just change something for the sake of changing. Can't see myself using these arrow legs. Weirdly enough, with the lack of generator, they're actually worse than the Nox. Let's ditch the light plate for a minute. Yeah, it's still the best option. I suspect the needle's not going to benefit from any of this, but let's just take a quick look. Yeah, the light plate's the really... So if I ditch the light plate just for... Okay, actually, this is worth taking a look at. So I can't get rid of the flashpoint. The weight reductions... You know what? I do want to consider this in the long run. Yeah, I think what I'm going to do after this province, maybe I'll just have a proper, like, sit and think about where I want my equipment to go. But right now I just don't see a whole lot that I can realistically do here. This arrow might actually, nope. Things are too heavy. Now this is interesting. The Tsubasa is a lighter torso. The catch, of course, is that so number one, I can't change the thruster. And, well, but this, yeah, you know what? I am going to go for this arrow. I don't even remember what reactor I went for. All right. Big weight reduction. I'm going to start with an amplified, and then we'll see where we can go from there. Don't want to do overdrive. Yeah, you know what? The more I think about it, the more the amplified seems like the best I can go for there. And it does make me a bit more defensible than the Kobu. Okay, so let's see what I am actually up against. With the static defenses, it probably would have been a good idea for me to bring a couple more missiles, but... Getting a negative IFF code. We've got hostiles in range. Engage at will. Reinforcements should be coming soon. Destroy the generator to take out all the turrets. Now that's basically what this gun was made for. But where's the generator? Oh, right here. That's not that hard to do, actually. I do have a few units that want to inconvenience me, though, so we're going to fight our way to that generator. The good news is there's not a whole lot like, do we have turrets to worry about? Yes. The good news is there's actually not that many of them, and they're definitely not in places that I want to worry about. So the thing I'm actually worried about is that there's a hell of a lot of units on the battlefield, and I'm gonna have to deal with them at some point. This is a worry. Oh, you know what? Looks like it's this one. Jesus. Yeah, so that rail gun. I mean, the best I can hope for here is just that I rely on all of these buildings. I don't see how I work through any. My best bet here, I think, is to hop up on the building. This is more of a question of angles. You're joking. Alright, well, it'll do. I am rather worried about the fact that the enemy's kind of determining the tempo. But I've also got to admit, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure how I solve that. I definitely can't just go and I can't go and then just like if I run across the map, then I'm gonna have to worry about these turrets. I'm already probably gonna have to worry about this turret with the longbow. If I run in, I still have these four to contend with. So yeah, I'm just kind of I'm relying on my ability to deal with most of this stuff quickly. But I will definitely try and angle the fight so that I have an advantage. I think I'm just going to wait for the next turn before I commit any of that. So let's see how the turn goes. This is definitely going to be a hard one. I also didn't appreciate this is a railgun repeater, so I might be in for a world of hurt. It's funny, I do have this generator as an objective, but it's really not that big of a priority right now. Like, the turrets are the least of my worries. It's a little chip damage, but I'm thinking I'm getting the better of the exchange here. Alright, so that didn't do too much. Yeah, that was a pretty respectable hit, but I do need to... I'm gonna need to deliver more, and sooner. Good news is I'm going to be bringing my full arsenal online. I probably should have done a second round of shots. That was a considerable mistake on my part. Okay, so presumably this unit's going to attack the... No! Interesting. What is this thing bringing? So that's a machine gun. I do not want to be in close range on that thing. Okay. The other thing I need to keep in mind is it looks like there's a big attack. Well, it's sort of out of range. It's an assault rifle, though. 718. I definitely should take that on. Okay, so let's simplify first. So anywhere the sniper can fire is the new priority. Okay, now that's interesting. So this unit is basically going after this unit, which I want to get out of the way of the turret anyway. So we're going to run around the edge, and that should free us up to offer a bit of help to the... Yeah, so that's going to give me some help to my heavy machine gun. It's going to be a weird turn. Okay, now I really don't like the idea of going toe-to-toe with one of these units. My smarter move is to put up the shield and hunker down. But I also still want to get aggressive on some of this stuff. I'm basically going to ignore the railgun until it causes real problems. All right, here's what I'm going to do about this one. Okay. I want to handle the angles slightly better, but... Again, not crazy about holding over to a second turn doing this, but I also need to... I basically need to be able to put more damage out each turn, because we're going to get overwhelmed pretty quickly. If I can catch a break in the form of something like taking out an arm on one of the enemy units, that would be best. So we've at least got one enemy unit down. We might be able to take a second. Okay, that's a shame. Oh no, he's shooting at something behind. Oh, that's a thing of beauty. All right, we took down a mech off of that. That's very good. Looks like I'm going to come up short on taking out this unit unless there's a big surprise. Oh, okay. We're definitely going to review this turn. I would be surprised if this one got taken out. But again, the good news is for all of the efforts that the enemy has put into taking out my units, I don't know, like, clearly there's been a lot thrown at my mechs. And I do kind of want to be conscious of I do want to be conscious of the threat that's presented to them. So like this sort of stuff, right? Like these buildings are not going to last forever. But all that said, we've done surprisingly well at sort of pushing back the front, right? So like this unit's down, this unit is vulnerable. We took out a mech. Probably will be able to take a second before too long. This one's fresh and it's got a shotgun trained on us. But I think the other thing is the longbow's in a pretty decent position to actually start causing some trouble in the enemy back lines. So probably I might want to start trying to munch a few tanks if the sniper can't make an effort. But this is the sort of mech that's great for sort of running in after a a heavy machine gun and taking it out from behind. So yeah, I don't know, like this is definitely not how I planned on doing this encounter. I definitely thought that we were going to try and build a turn or a few turns around sort of moving everything in a position to protect this unit while it destroyed the generator. But I'm not unhappy with how this has gone. Again, there's still a hell of a lot of enemies to deal with, but we can sort of start seeing the end to the fight. Okay, so this thing's still going to be focusing on my own unit. Honestly, I think the best option here, we do have some overheating trouble. I think the best move here is to actually get in position to take this unit on. I'm not crazy about the fact that it's going to be shield side up, but it's definitely better than just sort of waiting for something useful to happen, because I still have that outside option of moving up and taking out the generator. Now, so far the needle hasn't been too heavily affected, but I don't want to count on that being the case forever. So it looks like here there's a machine gun that's basically coming after us from the start. So I'm going to move back, especially because this sort of helps me. Not only does it give me the range that I need for this, but it I think it gets me out of... Yeah, it looks like a couple units were aiming at me. So the tricky question with this unit is, like, right now there's a lot of stuff that's trying to shoot it, but there are things in the way. So I've kind of two options for handling that. I stay put. Now it looks like... I'm actually trying to find out who exactly is this guy attacking. I should probably put the shield up just in case. Yeah, I also need to be conscious of the fact that the turret's gonna have its say. You know, this is a little funny. I'm actually putting this unit directly in danger. but I prefer it to... I prefer it to trying to sort out the turret. Okay, so now we want to see what this unit gets up to. So looks like we've got... Yeah, the heavy... The heavy wants to murder me 100 different ways. So the idea of trying to outrun the heavy like this is oh so tempting, but I also think that's a suicide mission. So I'm going to dash back. This is going to buy me a little time. Actually, you know what? I can probably... Oh, that turret. Okay. Yep, I'm gonna have to live with that. One small possibility is a DAT not among those buildings. You know what? Sometimes you don't need a fancy turn. Sometimes you just need to... Yeah, I'll admit I was kind of hoping for a bit more from the assault, but it's pretty clear they were in a... It's pretty clear they were exposed. So I'm definitely not above pulling them back if that's what the job calls for. Maybe I don't shoot into the side of a building? Does leave me short on options, though. I'm gonna try something very reckless. So this would have to be for next turn, but basically I'm trying to open up this side for the sniper. The drawback is it's possible that the enemy retaliates and the heavy machine gun goes onto this unit, but it's not much good to me where it's standing right now. So again, I have some reservations about this turn just because of the lack of damage I'm putting out, but I don't have a lot of other options. So I like that this is crashing, but we need to take enemies off the table. It's not enough for me to... Oh, you have shamed yourself. That's not a lot of that is going into the enemy. Fortunately, it also doesn't seem to be hitting the shield, so... I think this unit's successfully shocked itself. I don't know, that definitely could have been worse, but that's not the standard I want to be judging my turns by. So, first things first, let's see what the sniper can do. In this case, I'm not even worried that much about perfect shots. It's a lot more about making sure that I can get to it's a little bit more about being effective. So I don't like that I'm crossing over into the next turn, but I want to make the most of the sniper where I can. All right, this unit is going to. Oh, sorry. That's going to go after the longbow. Now there's a chance, fairly good chance, in fact, that I can win this race by. You know, here's how I'm going to do it instead. So move up. It's fairly delicate, but what I want to do is I want to spend half of it attacking, the other half moving, so that by the time it starts its attack, I'm behind cover. Now this unit's focusing down on me. What I think I might be able to do. Okay, so I gotta wait on the turret. Okay. Try and move that as close up in the time. Oh, interesting. Again, I don't like crossing over to another turn, but it's an option I have. All right, so sniper's doing its thing. Does not look like there's a lot of units that are moving on the machine gun. What I am curious about is who's targeting. All right, that's the railgun. Now it seems to me, nope. Okay. That's basically a clean shot that railgun has, and it does 270 damage, so this is the worst way to think about it. So the problem is if it hits one of the arms, this unit's taken out. I just don't know. I don't know what the alternative is. Well, no, I do know what the alternative is. The alternative is I put a wall between me and the railgun. So now the question is, can I do something? Can I do anything? Yeah, I don't know. It's not the most comfortable position I've been in, but okay. So I always hate these points where I have to wait for other members of the team. But again, this is a chance for us to erase a unit from the table. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Okay, always nice to see a crash. A kill is better, obviously, but So anything I can do to stop this is good. But again, I'll accept a second best of... Ooh. Great. Okay, so this unit's not threatened anymore. And that is a nice side effect of the fact that this unit's crashing. Okay. Not crazy about hitting the side of the... Ah, now what I didn't anticipate was that all the intervening buildings would be destroyed, so this unit's going to take a bit more damage than I expected. We might see some interesting stuff, though. God, that thing is just unstoppable. I remember when this heavy machine gun basically used to be a guaranteed kill, at least through concussive damage. Oh, seconds before we see if it lands. Okay. So we did take out the tank in the end. The railgun repeater did not wind up doing that much damage to the heavy machine gun, which I'm happy with. We definitely need to prioritize this unit because this shotgun is going to become a major liability very, very soon. But I also need to be conscious of the fact that there is their own heavy machine gunner, which is going to start chewing up my own units, and we basically don't have any cover anymore. For practical purposes, maybe this heavy machine gunner will be able to hide behind a wall, but of course this heavy machine gunner is the one with the big shield that should be tanking stuff. And then a lot of my other units either are too weak or they move too slowly to really be effective. So it's going to be a twofold strategy. So one, I'm going to try and get the sniper to take out the heavy machine gun because that's one of the biggest threats I'm facing right now. I think probably the heavy machine gunner should focus on this unit. I know I'm not really doing enough to take it out, but it seems to me like this is the most viable... Oh man, he's right on top of him. So I can't do this because I basically get... Oh my god, okay. Yeah, it's not ideal, but... My plan B here is just open fire where I can. Now, with that in mind, this does open up other possibilities for me. So I'll take a slightly different approach here. Oh, this is the I doubt you're gonna make it system chalk music. I know it well. So we are wasting a little bit of the turn, but I think this is a reasonable trade-off. Now, unfortunately, we're overheating. Not crazy about that. This unit's in considerable danger, so I want to prevent. Now, the good news is that we are going to the unit that's going to be threatening me is telegraphing its intent, and it's going to take a while to be able to accomplish what it wants. So I can put a building between me and it, at least temporarily. And then this is the point where I actually want to make myself sort of scarce. So we'll get the shot that we can in. And yeah, this is going to be a little weird, but honestly, I'm happy to just sort of spread the love as far as the attacks go. So yeah, not an ideal turn by any stretch of the imagination, but again, the good news here is we are actually starting to whittle down some of the enemy attacks. This is not so good. They're basically, well, I don't really have much else in terms of options though, so even if I wind up doing some damage to the shield, I mean, I don't have any other options, sadly. So let's see how the turn goes. Well, we'll replay this one to see how it turned out. I did not see how... Well, it's a nice shot to the center. Ooh. That was not expected. A little more or not as much as I was expecting. So a bit of damage, I'm not expecting. Okay, good. Now this dash should inconvenience a few of the shots that I'm taking. Not as many as you'd think. So first I'm interested in seeing how the snipe goes. Getting close. I don't think this is going to do the trick though. Oh god, that was so close to taking out its arm. I am going to need to take out this railgun unit in a bit, but this unit's about to lose its right arm, it looks like. Okay, that's another unit off the table. So we are at the point now okay, so I want to make sure I'm off my pedestal by the end of the turn. That's an easy one for me to fulfill. So, I mean, yes, it would be nice if I fired the weapon again, but honestly, it is entirely possible that we'll be taking this thing's... we'll either be killing its center or taking its arm off. Now, there are a lot of other ways for me to do this if I feel like I could potentially take out the arm. I do not want to risk a face full of heavy machine gun fire on an if. Okay, so this unit's going to eject. I think we run in to bully the railgun, although it's hiding behind a hill. Honestly, it's as good as it's gonna get. So for this one, I think we can just mosey on down. Let's make sure I'm not in a wide open area when the I basically want to make sure I'm not in a wide open area when the attack comes in. Okay, that's manageable. So the next question is, what do I do with the longbow? Longbow should definitely be moving aggressively this turn. So we'll dash him forward. So this unit with the assault rifle's not been doing anything. I definitely feel like that's a prime candidate for vengeance. However, looks like I'm pointed in the wrong direction. Okay, this is going to be a bit of a risky move, I think. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind a little bit of danger on here, but I'm leaving myself without a whole lot of cover on this move. The rest of it, though, I actually feel, despite the music, I actually feel okay about where we're at. So again, let's think about the current state. So we've got this railgun repeater that's being chased down by the machine gun. I've got a free heavy machine gun. The sniper starts by trying to take out their heavy machine gun, and then they'll move in a position to be able to sort of take out targets of opportunity. And my longbow's finally moving aggressively on presumably this tank and maybe this tank. Yeah, I mean, essentially we have 3 enemy units to deal with. I'm not quite sure why... maybe 4. Anyways, yeah, the music definitely speaks pessimism, but I actually think we're in a good spot. It's a little scary on the... Yeah, we're definitely going to take some damage off of that. Alright, and this is why we don't bank on killing units like that. Could you imagine if I kept that unit up there? I'm assuming there's something about me leaving the barrier to regenerate that. Through me. Oh yeah. No, that's definitely what happened on that arm. We probably, if we hit the arm again, we probably would have been able to take it out, but we'll see what recharges. Quite a bit. So again, I'm not too fussed about this, given that I have contingencies. If nothing else, I've got an angry longbow that can run in and inconvenience the unit. I was kind of hoping we would make this thing crash before it fired, but... Oh, interesting. That bounces off the ground. Okay, good to know. Now this is very interesting. So yeah, this unit's crashing. I'd love to chase this unit down. God, this is so difficult. It's like, this is such a good opportunity for me to do terrible things to this unit. But this fresh assault rifle is in a position to harm me. Okay, so if I move out and around like so... So yeah, I don't think there is a way that I can get a clear shot on... Maybe here. I mean, would I want to risk 616 damage to a glass cannon to get an easy shot on the... No, I think we move this unit to safety, even if it means not doing a whole lot this turn. Actually, there's one other possibility. It's a weird one. It's also got to be timed just so. So I can't start off dashing, otherwise I overheat. Okay, you know what? Safety first. I mean, it's a start. The more interesting question here is, can I make something happen? Oh God, this is definitely a shot worth taking. We want to line this up and fire as much as possible because this is sort of life or death on the heavy. Now the needle is sort of a free agent right now, so one catch is it's going to be a bit tricky to get them... Oh, you know what? So I wonder if we set them up there. No, darn it. Okay. I think my best bet is to do a bit of a song and dance over here. I can't get back up. Okay. Song and dance time then. Okay, that doesn't work. This, however, does. So yeah, we're looking a little rough, but I'll try to remember to replay that. So at minimum, this thing's got to crash. Yeah. Okay, looks like we avoided consequence on this side. Let's see what we can do in terms of putting some hurt down. So the good news is that we've got it. This, even if it just kind of wears down some of the barrier, we're at least combining that with something from the assault rifle. And looks like the sniper shot did some good. Yeah, so at minimum we're going to be able to focus down this unit, assuming... Nope, it's off the table. Great. Alright. That's the break that we needed. We're just going to enjoy that shot on the replay. It's a great looking game, isn't it? Actually, I also kind of like how the sniper shot kind of seems to come out of nowhere. So you can see the building come down. Okay, we're definitely at a point where we're gonna so the plasma launcher's got to go. We've got a unit that's ejecting. Not too worried about these buildings at this point, but let's well, you know what, I have the full turn, so here's what I'm gonna do. Let's oh, I want their revenge. Okay, well, with that in mind then, I'm going to try and drill through the... I'm actually going to just do that slightly differently. I'm going to drill through to the power source. Okay. But the deal with that is I need to support my other units. So what I'm really looking for here is something that will protect me from the turret while still allowing me to snipe this unit. Now 80% is not that bad, so I think I'm actually just going to hang back and do my thing here. But does look like there's a missile that actually comes after me. How much does that missile do? 900. So in the name of abundance of caution, I'm backing off. This thing's hollowed out. I'm sure this thing... interesting. That's going to... I think that's going to shock itself, actually. Okay, I think I'm going to try and get this unit in on blowing up the power station. Seems like a decent thing to do. Not expecting miracles by any means, but... honestly, a best effort is all I'm looking for at this point. So I think at this point, the smarter thing for me to do is wait for its attack to finish and then make my move. It's gonna leave me short on things to do on the follow-up, but I prefer it to the alternative. Yeah, so maybe we'll get lucky. Okay. So maybe I don't want to overheat my unit. Again, I definitely want to try and dodge whatever missile's on its way. I'm curious what my liquid fix is going to look like. This will be a potential liability when the boss fight comes, because I may be facing it down without a fully repaired squad. Okay, absolutely nothing on that unit. We should be able to outrun the missiles, but this is going to get interesting. Okay, looks like the building was the decisive factor there, but we'll be dashing away just to be sure. Okay, these could be trouble. Yeah, the fact that I'm not moving and these things being as close as they are does make me a little worried. Fortunately, I think it's gonna blow, yeah, blows up to its own weapon. These things do seem to be clearing out. Now, we do not seem to have successfully destroyed the power plant. Good work on destroying... Oh, nope, we did. Good work on destroying that generator, Commander. Turrets should be down now. So, I suppose... I think there's just one tank left. Yeah, this guy. So they want a piece of the longbow, and that's fine. What this means is the rest of the team focuses on getting the shots that they can. I don't even want to mess around with that, so I can probably... So obviously I don't want to be caught in any kind of crossfire with the snipers, so I'm going to keep my heavy machine gun at a respectful distance, which does limit the opportunities I have to... Looks like that's open though. And not expecting too much as far as the heavy goes, but I figure we can just walk in on that. Okay, let's see whether or not... Well, let's watch the replay of this turn. Not so sure about that heat warning there, but... Lousy buildings. If it doesn't hit the bottom, it doesn't... Yeah. There we go. All right. Hard fought, but very satisfying battle. That was actually only 9 turns. But I was very surprised to see just how many of those were enemy units. I think there were only 2 turrets in that entire map. Still, holy hell. Okay, so I'm gonna go by color first, all the blues, even though I'm probably not gonna use the firewall. Next up, I want to see special weaponry is definitely... I could probably get more of this than I thought. Alright, that was a big win for us. So I don't want to take on the armored unit. Probably the logging site. So this would be good for... that's 20 enemy strength, so that's actually not enough to bring on the boss. Actually, neither of these are, so probably better for me to go logging site than outpost. But yeah, with 6 liquid fix, especially because I'm going to be repairing all of my units, I definitely need to be pretty careful with... I need to be pretty careful with the squad. One other alternative is I head back to a place with resupply. The problem is I really do not know how long the home guard would actually be able to hold out. Like, that is a long way for me to go, and it's worth remembering there is actually a wait for the liquid fix. So I think probably the better path for me to go is just to say, you know what, we're the scrappy underdog. Oh, the capital did allow me to resupply. Okay, that's I suppose it's a double-edged sword there, so it's not quite as far as it seems, but I really don't want to do that except as a last resort. So we'll see what happens when we go for the logging site. If I really feel like I'm going to need to repair, fair enough. At the very least, taking the logging site will give us a full home guard strength, and we can regroup. But I don't know. It'd be a nice little flex for me to go in with only 6 liquid fix, minus whatever I lose on this, and still be able to take the province. But all of that will happen. We're 28th, right? 29th. All of that will happen in a future stream. I'm not 100% sure what's going on with Godless. I believe the full release was originally scheduled for late May. However, I definitely know that there's a lot of attention that they put into that game, and I imagine that if there is a delay, it is to make it a better game. So I'm not gonna kick up dust and say what a shame it is. Liquid Fix is just Flex Seal. Yes, of course. I have no idea what Flex Seal is, but I'm gonna trust that it is. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to see the full version of Godless, but I'm also looking forward to see that game be everything that it can be. So if it means that I need to wait a little bit longer, that's fine. Got a nice new patch in Phantom Brigade to play around with. And as I'm sure you all know, I have a bit more on my plate than I really know what to do with. So, plan for the next little while. Friday will probably be Cyberpunk. Monday will likely be back to Dead Space. I'm enjoying Dead Space. I do know that I'm not consistent with having something to say during Dead Space, so I don't know how many more games like that I will wind up streaming. But it is a nice little diversion. And then Wednesday is kind of dedicated to Brace Yourself, but again, Brace Yourself have so many good games. Like, Cobalt Core isn't necessarily getting the kinds of updates that Phantom Brigade and and Godless have been, at least as far as I can tell. But I do want to do Cobalt Core, and frankly, I'd really like to do Industries of Titan. And I don't remember, I think I have done Crypt of the Necrodancer on the stream before, but like ages ago. So even that would be kind of fun to show as well. Anyways, all of this is stuff that I can handle at some point in the future. Thank you everybody for watching. Let me just take a quick minute here and see who is online. My one small regret is that I don't think I got to point out the new song, but the lovely music that you're listening to right now is by none other than Riley Koning, very talented composer who's done a number of games that I've played now. I really like, I mean, this is just great sound. This is the sort of music that to me, like, other people make. People I will never meet, right? Like the Hans Zimmers or the John Williams or something like that. And finding out that we actually went to the same university at the same time, and that I've actually got to see him in person in Vancouver, is very strange, just because, again, like, this sounds amazing. And music just always seems to be one of these magical things that other people make. So in any case, this is available for purchase on the Steam store. It is also available through his Bandcamp, and then for those of you who use music subscription services, whether it's Apple Music or Spotify, I'm not sure about any of the others. It's also available on those, and I highly recommend that you listen to it because it's a really good soundtrack. It's also on YouTube. Anyways, let us raid. Looks like Revived Snow is doing Grand Theft Auto. Actually, sorry, let me just double check that there is no Phantom Brigade. Looks like it's just me. Okay, well, I am going to raid Revived Snow, who's currently playing Grand Theft Auto 5. I'm not sure if it's anything special like roleplay or something like that, but Revived Snow has a pretty interesting channel. I believe they're Canadian, but in addition to being a VTuber, they use text-to-speech. So it's, I used to joke for such a long time that I wanted to be sort of the first voiceless, camless streamer, but apparently that is exactly what, Revived Snow is. A very friendly streamer, does a little bit of everything too. So I am, you know, I'm always happy to raid them, especially because they also seem to go quite late. So it also, I feel a little bit safer sharing the stream with everyone, just simply because I know it's not somebody who's going to sign off within minutes of me raiding. So anyways, I hope you all have a good evening. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see some of you on Friday, some of you in a week, and please enjoy Revived Snow's broadcast.